This episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.
Thank you very much. And I completely forgot in the prior introduction, I actually got festive for this. So I asked my nail tech to...
Those are awesome.
They're super cute. So I have my two little friends here. She didn't have yellow or brown, so we went with a summer color of orange. And we ended up having a nice 45-minute conversation about the global sanitation crisis, which was fun for me. I don't know about her, but at least now she knows about it. And maybe she'll go on it.
Welcome to the ZuLoo Poodcast, where we talk all things poop, toilets, and sanitation. Through insightful news, impact stories, and quirky humour, we aim to discuss and highlight the critical role toilets play in whisking poop out of our lives, the impact toilets have, or lack thereof, in the health and wellness of humanity, and what ZuLoo is doing to help solve the current global sanitation crisis.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the ZuLoo Poodcast. We're so excited to have you tuning in today. We're always excited. So welcome back. Got another great episode. Trevor's in studio with us again. I mean, you're in studio with us every week, but you're at the table with us,
which is
again.
fun. I like it. I like him at the table. Over there, you know, you're just wandering around doing nothing. Here, you're actually part of the conversation.
Okay.
Which is great.
I know.
We value your
There's
input.
so many times that I think, should I chime in? And I only do occasionally.
Yeah.
Kind of more when we need like a fact check or something like that.
Yeah.
And I can quickly go online and look something
No, that's great.
up,
You've fact checked us a number of times.
Yeah. We found out that there were black arches at McDonald's.
We did.
I know.
In Peru.
That was a real thing.
Peru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Quinn was just like on some weird planet. But yeah,
well,
legit.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But that time he was not.
No,
Yeah.
he was right.
Well, the lineup today, folks, is that Darren and I had the awesome opportunity of speaking to Shael Igwe, who we're very excited about. She is part of OpsWASH, which is a private sector organization working out of Nigeria to bring WASH education and resources to the people of Nigeria. They are also the host of the World Toilet Summit in Nigeria this year. So we have lots to say in that interview, which you'll hear after our Poo News.
That's right. We're excited about that. I'm debating which one to do first. They're both so riveting news. Would you want the legal news or do you want the kind of quirky news first?
I'm here for some legal news.
Legal news.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I apologize for the legal news.
We do.
Well, I was thinking Amber Heard was also like categorically legal news. So
yeah. So this one's it's not really funny. It's sort of, but you should know about it, right? Okay. Everybody heard about the Flint water crisis in 2014. Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just to remind you of what happened there, the city had decided to switch to a different water source. And so they used different pipes to pipe the water from this other water source. And all the pipes were lead pipes.
Oh.
And so, and they really didn't test the water that was coming out of the pipes. It's just sort of like, anyway, a lot of bad things, a lot of kids, like twice the level of lead poisoning and just the water was coming out brown. And it's just like crazy stuff.
Wow.
And they and a lot of people got sick. And
I didn't remember that much detail about it.
Anyway, so that happened,
crazy.
And the crazy thing is, Flint, Michigan, it's a very modern city, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, kind of crazy to believe that, it's in America. You're.
But they didn't do any of those checks beforehand.
Yeah.
What do the pipes look like?
Well,
yeah. And so anyway, the health director, the state's former health director, and a bunch of the people involved in the water department were prosecuted criminally for negligence and all of that. Anyway, the Michigan Supreme Court canceled their indictments because the prosecutor, I mean, if you don't know, to get an indictment, you have to go before a grand jury. It's usually 12 people from the citizens, and they show them the evidence. And based on the evidence, they say, okay, yeah, well, we believe that it's enough evidence that you can go ahead and prosecute them.
Right.
And I guess they did a shortcut, and there's like another way to do a grand jury is just go find a judge.
Yeah.
And say, hey, what do you think, judge? And the judge can say, oh, indictment, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, they thought that was improper, and so they didn't say that they couldn't be prosecuted, but they said they just did it wrong,
So does that mean you have to start over?
You got to start all over again. Anyway, not really a funny news story, but
wow,
no,
what a
interesting.
loop! I mean,
so basically, the prosecuting attorney that was representing the citizens dropped the ball,
right?
And so now the citizens of Flint need to go through this process again. They don't really necessarily have to, but attorney does, or another attorney does.
Well, the state prosecutors have to restart the whole thing over.
The whole thing over in order to maybe go after these people.
Right.
That were responsible.
Right, exactly right. So anyway, it's just one of those things. But it's sort of, because it was in the news, Supreme Court said, hey, well, as much as we feel like maybe, these people should be prosecuted or punished, right? You can't cut corners, right? It was still
legal action.
So anyway, they just but it brought up the thing in the news again. It's like, Flint, Michigan, 2000. Anyway, if you don't know the whole story about that, there's actually some documentaries, some great documentaries. Maybe we'll link to.
Do you know about what's going on with this Camp Lejeune military camp? I think it was an army base. Please forgive me if I'm wrong, because it was a big deal. But there's a class action lawsuit. I don't know if it's already been settled. But there are ads all over the television saying if you were stationed at Camp Lejeune between like 1985 or 75 and 92, I don't quote me on that, but and you drank the water and you were sick and had all these different things, and they list all of these horrible things, let us know. And I think, they must have already been settled because they have a number.
Oh, wow.
But people have a certain amount of time to come forward and claim part of that. But as you said, like, how does that happen? How does it happen at a United States military installation or a major city in,
well, a lot
how does it get that bad where the water's not tested? And these people are drinking horrible water for decades. And
that's an issue. Not just I mean, these are isolated cases, but I mean, as a generally speaking, a lot of America's infrastructure, when it comes to whether it's downstream, or we're talking about wastewater treatment plants, or whether it's upstream like water sources. A lot of these infrastructure sources are decades, or some places 100 years old, right? And so there's an argument to be made that there needs to be more investment back in upgrading these systems, making it safer. Because if you let it go, sooner or later you're going to have some kind of breakdown.
But it seems like I have a brother-in-law that works in the water department. For, I believe it's Salt Lake County, here in Utah, and there are so many checks and balances to make sure that water, that they find problems before it gets to people. And very rarely does it get to people, and that usually only happens when there's some type of a problem. In between. Where there's a water main break or something like that, or a spill that they can't control, and then
those guys. I mean, if you've never toured a wastewater treatment plant, like in your local town or city,
Yeah.
you should go down there.
Yeah.
Take the kids. I took my kids down there and they were like, where are we going? We're going to the wastewater treatment plant. And they are, it kind of looks like NASA, right? Where, you got the mission control and they got the big screen. Instead of a big screen, they got a big window looking at the systems, right?
Yeah.
And they've got all these monitors and they're watching it because, nobody's watching it. Yeah, you could have especially when a big storm happens.
It has to be monitored 24/7.
Or if you have a power outage, or a lot of things could go wrong that disrupts the whole system and the whole thing. It's like when your sphincter stops working, everything throws everything else off, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking about Wayne's World right now.
Yeah, exactly.
A sphincter says what? A sphincter says what? I'm sorry. There's going to be a small percentage of people that are laughing right now that are old. Like me.
Wayne's World, that's like an ancient movie.
Yeah, it is.
Like
Way before Kelsey was born.
1800s.
I'm getting your reference.
Okay.
That's
good.
And I don't think you're ancient.
Yeah.
So
the next news story, we could talk about, we could keep going on
let's
that.
go quirky news. Yeah. Give me a change of pace. Quirky news.
Yeah. So this is a story out of Montana. Where a guy, and it's got a photo of the guy, he is stuck in a pit latrine toilet.
Oh.
And what happened was the story goes, and the people that found him took the photo. At least they blacked out his face, so they didn't.
How cruel!
But they had to take a photo just because it was so. The photo is. He has no shirt on and his waist is like, he's actually stuck in the toilet.
Like his legs are in there.
Yeah,
it's not like
first. He's not head first.
He couldn't get out. Well, he actually went in on purpose because he dropped his phone in the pit latrine toilet and decided it was worth it. Maybe it was a brand new phone. But anyway, he basically, he closed the door. He took all of his clothes off, because he didn't want to get his clothes dirty.
Wow. He really thought this.
And he went into the toilet to get his phone.
Montana?
And then he couldn't get out. And he was in there.
Did he at least reach his phone to call for some help?
It doesn't say whether his phone still worked. You think you dropped it in there. It's probably not going to work. And how do you clean a phone after that?
I'm just so
we know our phones are probably the dirtiest thing. But
you said a pit latrine?
It was a vault. If you're familiar with, if you go out to, and sorry, maybe I didn't clarify. It was like out, when you go out to like a national park.
Yeah,
it's one of those toilets.
Okay.
Sorry.
So they're emptied out on the occasion.
A building.
Right.
But
you got a pout house, you got an outhouse, and you got basically a big old hole with a big concrete. And it's, those are pretty deep. They're 6 to 10 feet deep and they're pretty wide. Right. And they only pump them out, whenever they fill up.
Yeah.
Right? And so anyway, he went in after his phone and couldn't get out. And he was in there. They later found out he was in there for about 3 hours.
Oh,
okay, that's
before anybody. And they said he could have died in there. If it was like, if nobody would have heard him, I've seen toilets like way out, like in southern Utah, where it may be days before somebody comes along.
Is he like standing on waist, or
sounds like
is
he's standing on the bottom of the tank?
Yeah,
he for some reason, and maybe his upper body strength he couldn't get himself out, and
his whole body could fit under like the seat.
He got in, but he couldn't get out. Anyway,
oh my gosh.
So
no, I'm shaking my head.
Anyway,
it
brings up a snap poll question.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey, would you go after your? I know you love your phone. You're on it a lot. Would you go after it if you dropped it in?
My phone is like basically my livelihood. It's the device from which I do my job.
Okay, so would you go after it?
No, because it's replaceable.
Yeah.
It's paid off. I just go buy a new phone. I'm fortunate that way. I don't have, I'm not paying for my phone.
Okay.
And I can get a new driver's license. I can get a new card.
Yeah.
All my photos are on my iCloud. Like no.
Okay, Trevor, would you go after your phone? Would you go?
Not in that situation.
No.
If I look, I'm going to check. Oh crud! I'm going to look down and I'll probably,
maybe get a little rope and a loop.
Yeah,
try to.
You know what? You're right. If I saw it, I would try
to fish it out.
I would try to fish it out with something. I'm never going to go in.
Yeah, he went in full body.
If I drop
naked,
if I were to drop my phone into my home toilet, yes, I'm going to reach in there and grab my phone.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that he didn't it wasn't a split decision because he took all of his clothes off.
No. He thought
and
this
then went in to get it. So maybe it was important to him.
Well,
anyway, what would you go in? I mean, what would you go into a toilet for?
Oh, it'd have to be something that I knew I could find. Like if I lost a wedding band, I'm not going in because I'm not going to find it. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't go in.
As precious as something like that is, your odds of finding it are slim to none.
I would go in for my car keys. If I were in a remote toilet like that and it was just me, you wouldn't for your car keys?
Because only if I saw them and then I would try to fish them out.
Well, sure. If you couldn't see them, you're not.
You can't. I mean, think about that.
So you would take off all your clothes and jump down into the vault to get those car keys.
This is the situation. If I were driving through Montana, this is where this happened, Montana?
Yeah, Montana.
In the dead middle of Montana alone, right? And I dropped my car keys in there.
Wow.
Well, I guess if I had my phone and I had service, then I would not.
Tough question.
But if it was phone and keys, yeah, I'd go in there.
I know. And to me, it brings up the people that found him. Like you're going into the bathroom for a purpose, and there's a guy in there. Help! I mean, come on. And you look down there, and there's some guy looking up at you, and all you see are his eyes.
They said that they also cited another story of a woman in Washington, Olympic National Park, that went in to retrieve her phone, and couldn't get out either, and was in there for 24 hours.
Did either of these people find their phone?
Yeah,
it doesn't say whether they found the phone or not.
No resolution to these stories. Yeah. What is this?
Yeah.
24
but they
hours?
Said they had to take her to the hospital. They don't say what happened to the Montana guy, but
just what you're breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said it could
the amount of parasites and
it could be
disease
very
that's
toxic,
in that. That's
toxic
horrible.
fumes.
So they took her to the hospital?
Yeah. She had to go to the hospital. And anyway, so I think it's a bad idea, unless it's like your baby falling in.
Yes. Yeah. You go in after your baby.
Your grandmother falling in.
Yeah.
Maybe your brother. Nah.
He can get himself
If my brother
out.
goes in, I'm leaving them in there for a while. Kids, my older kids, No, you would throw them a rope, right?
Yes.
But not a good idea to do it on your, if you are going to go in, bring a buddy.
Yeah. Buddy system all the way.
File a flight plan or, hey, guys, I'm going in. If I don't come back in an hour, come get me, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So he thought it through. He just didn't think it through that thoroughly.
And and I know we need to move on, but going back to what Kelsey said, if she was alone and in that situation, that would force her to or cause that decision.
Yeah.
I think I would look at it the other way and I'd be like, okay, I need somebody here before I go down in there.
Yeah.
Even if it's a stranger, like, hey, this is disgusting.
Or you might.
I know my phone's right there. I've got to get it, but I don't know if I can get back out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart.
You hear me yelling, please
step in.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if somebody were after you, it might be a place to
hide out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure the mob people spend a lot of time in sewers.
No, I was reading a book on the Holocaust, and that was a place where a lot of survivors, they would when they would round people up and they're going to go shoot them, they go hide down in the latrine and in the latrine.
Yeah.
Until things blew over and then they're out again. But anyway, hopefully you're never in that situation.
Hopefully.
And
don't wish.
But for your phone,
I need a new
Definitely.
phone right now too.
Unless
so
it's your-
it would be
unless
just,
it's the water-
forget it, buddy.
Yeah.
Unless your phone has your like lottery ticket electronically, and that's the only place it is. Maybe you might go in, but then call a buddy. Buddy system.
Be
It's
safe.
like
Be
Boy
safe.
Scouts.
Yeah.
Buddy system. Who's your buddy? Who's your toilet buddy? ZuLoo's your toilet buddy,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
That's right. And we're talking about.
But I'm not going to be the volunteer that comes to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pull you out. Sorry.
Yeah. So we need to talk to our buddy, Miss Igwe.
We do. Yes. We're so excited to hop into Shael's interview, revisit that. So enjoy. Shael, welcome to the ZuLoo Poodcast. We are so excited to have you on. Grateful for the opportunity to be able to connect, but most especially grateful for the World Toilet Summit for bringing us together and connecting us in that way. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And I completely forgot in the prior introduction, I actually got festive for this. So I asked my nail tech to...
Those are awesome.
They're super cute. So I have my two little friends here. She didn't have yellow or brown, so we went with a summer color of orange. And we ended up having a nice 45-minute conversation about the global sanitation crisis, which was fun for me. I don't know about her, but at least now she knows about it. And maybe she'll go on and tell a friend. I guess it is one person at a time.
Wow, there really is like no other way to spread the good word except for to just do it in everyday circumstances and everyday conversation.
Why not?
Wait, can I see that? Could you show us that again? Just a quick.
So let me just try to move.
Okay.
So that's one.
Okay, that is awesome.
I've not gone around to naming them yet, but I'll take some suggestions. So,
Darren's thinking, how can I convince my wife to do that with her nails? That's what's going through his mind.
Oh my
Shannon,
goodness.
come see this. You have to see this. I'm with my wife here. Come see this real quick. She has to see this. These nails showed up.
At first, the nail. Oh, here we go.
The yellow poop emoji nail. That is super cool.
Thank you.
Wow.
She was quite concerned at first, and then once I explained, as I said, the crisis and everything, then she said, "Oh, that's interesting." And actually, funnily enough, it's crazy how many people in the Western world don't realize that open defecation is bad. A lot of them have this mentality that, like, okay, I get it. It kind of sucks to not have a toilet, but surely open defecation is not bad for the environment because it like fertilizes the ground or something like that. So it is important that we also, have this conversation outside of the parts that it affects to create the sort of sensitization and awareness. So yeah.
Yeah,
that is a great way to do it. Yeah, that's awesome. Maybe I'll paint my toenails a little poop emoji or something. So
why not? Go for it.
I'd love to see that, Darren. My vote is yes. I'm checking that.
Well, I'll do my toenails if you do your like all 5 of them. Maybe do your left hand with all your poop emojis on it. You keep your right hand free for other things,
What's going to go get them done? So we'll see.
Yeah,
I mean, might as well.
Oh, man.
As well.
I love it. But Shael, you bring up a good point, which is that even in the Western world, when we think that we've got the educational resources, we've got the ideas surrounding proper sanitation, proper hygiene, that there's still a lot of people who aren't aware of the insane and far-reaching impacts that open defecation or just lack of access to a safe toilet can bring.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we're grateful to be a partner, sponsor of the World Toilet Summit happening in Nigeria, of which you're a big part. So I would love for you to tell our listeners a little bit more about the organization that you're involved with and then how you got connected with hosting the World Toilet Summit.
Okay, so I guess I'll start with how I got into the WASH sector to begin with, because my role in the summit, of course, is part of larger teams as opposed to, just, me doing everything. So I studied law in London at Queen Mary University of London. Darren, I think I saw on your LinkedIn profile that you have a legal background as well. So I think I was more inclined to sort of social topics, international law, human rights kind of topics. I mean, I was really good at tort law, but it did not, spark the same interest. And then at the same time that I graduated, OpsWASH was being formed and inaugurated by the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. And I guess everybody has that sort of awkward period between, finishing school and finding the next opportunity. So I said, okay, I would rather not be idle with my time. Let me get into this. And I started with OpsWASH, just, doing minor things here and there. I mean, technically I am the legal director, but at first it was just minor. And then COVID came about. And at this time we were planning to bring a private sector forum together in which we would bring together leaders from various huge organizations in Nigeria to discuss this issue and see where are areas that they can join the fight. That ranges from program implementation to advocacy. And then obviously this was, peak COVID time, and then it really hit. And I remember very clearly that as I was reaching out to partners through various letters and communications, the response that I got back was overwhelmingly so that most resources and attention was going towards hospital beds and face masks and pretty much reactive measures. And that really sparked my interest in the sector because, I mean, I'm not criticizing anyone because at the time, I think we were all really panicked. And I think that now the world has realized that we do need to focus on this first line defense. But I think that really made me understand that water and sanitation really permeates every sort of factor in society. And that got me interested. I mean, you cannot talk about women's rights without equal access to sanitation. You cannot talk about eradicating instances of gender-based violence without ensuring first that girls in rural areas do not have to go out to some obscure place and be susceptible to rape and other horrible things. So that's really where it started. And of course, I've been part of OpsWASH and I've really come into my own following that. So I've been a part of some of the partnerships with Coca-Cola that Dr. Igwe spoke about before and other things. And then the summit came about and we have different teams from entertainment to media to, the technical team that is dealing with the agenda. And I guess my role is really to just coordinate them and make sure that, everything runs seamlessly. And so far, so good.
Thank you. I had no idea that you had a legal background. So that's really neat to be able to work in both of those areas with OpsWASH and both seeing the legal side and working in those areas as well as with your social focus, right? And you're totally right. One of the reasons that I have loved working in sanitation or in the WASH sector as well is for that same reason. I'm just a huge human rights advocate. And so thinking, it was a big wake-up call to me. I'm only a year in, and I've just learned so much how to appreciate and advocate for people who do not have equal access to safe sanitation.
Absolutely. It's really, really interesting when you kind of conceptualize they call it a basic human right for a reason. It really is like the basis of a lot of things. And some of the areas in Nigeria that are affected the most are marketplaces, which are mostly run by women. And these are women that despite their circumstances, they have their hustle game, very strong, they still get up. So like we need to empower them in that way as well.
Yes, that's particularly one thing we found that with our partnerships and our recipients in India is that it's primarily women. And that's who we ask our community really about, is who are the women and girls in your community who you see have the most needs. And typically most of our recipients are homes that have multiple women or multiple girls of any generation, right? Any age. And they're the ones that are most affected by having a toilet brought to their home.
Absolutely.
Because now it's not just like, oh, okay, I like have a toilet. It's no, I have time in the morning to devote to my business, to gaining economic equality with my family. And a lot of these women are single mothers trying to make it on their own. Mm-hmm. Now it's, a safety issue. I don't have to worry about people in my slum following me or following my children. Now it's a menstrual health issue where I have a place to safely manage my period every month, and I can still get into school and go to school and come back from school safely. And so I'm loving what you're saying about all of the different areas in life that WASH really can permeate. I'm wondering if you could speak to a little bit more about what the World Toilet Summit is and what your role has been in organizing that, coordinating.
So As I said, I am a part of all the subcommittees. My role is more administrative in that sense, just giving feedback here and there, making sure that all the subcommittees are on the same sort of page. I was quite instrumental in the beginning with regard to the theme, which I'll get to about why I'm excited for the summit. So the theme is Sanitation, Innovations for Economic Development. What's really exciting about Nigeria hosting the summit is this crazy juxtaposition, right? So on the one hand, we have 48 million people that do not have access to toilets. On the other hand, we have a government that is just very much eager to use any means necessary to resolve this crisis by 2025. So, in a sense, I feel like in a lot of other parts in the world, a lot of people are still on that level, getting governments to adopt this as a priority, but we've already passed that. So, what's the next step? How do we bring together different solutions and technologies, and how can we scale them up in different areas? So, as we were talking about earlier, it's not one solution for all. Nigeria is a country of 200 million people with different terrains, different regions. So there's really a diverse opportunity for intervention. And I'm really, really excited to see the discussions on people's perspectives and insights and ideas on how we can get to the next level, because the support is there. One thing that I was really excited to see this year, we had actually reached out to I think you call it fintechs, those financial institutions that deal with cryptocurrency. We wanted to start having a discussion on how we can maybe leverage on crypto to finance the sector. And they were so open. And that is because there is a strong political will. We have the state of emergency that was signed by His Excellency, the President, as well as Executive Order 009 that not only bans open defecation, but it also sort of pushes private sector or really any business or private property to ensure that they have the correct sanitation facility on site. And that includes proper sewage management. So I think that the effects of this have really been seen, and the summit is sort of like a platform to put this all together. And I think that a lot of great partnerships are going to come out of it. And I think next year we're going to see a great sort of resolve in the sector in Nigeria.
So that's great. When we had talked to Jack Sim of the World Toilet Organization earlier this year, he had mentioned that he wasn't exactly sure where the World Toilet Summit was going to be held, and he thought it might be in Tokyo, but obviously COVID was preventing that. But then I think just a few weeks later, he told us that Nigeria, I think I saw it on social media where Nigeria was announced as the host country. Can you share a little background on how that came about? I know you've got a lot of backing from the government, and obviously sounds like you guys were in discussions to host the World Toilet Summit for some time.
Sure. So
maybe you could share how that came about.
Sure, absolutely. So unfortunately, it's not that interesting. It was pretty much an email that we got from, I think, I would say like a colleague of Jack or an acquaintance of Jack that was part of the team. And I think he actually suggested, wait, hang on a second. Nigeria is number one in the world, but they're really doing a lot to sort of accelerate their progress in the sector. And so we got an email, we set up the meeting. We discussed a bit on what we would like the legacy to be. So as I said, we want to see more market-based solutions. We want to see a more thriving sanitation economy in Nigeria. As I said, the next level. Once the political will is there, it's then about strengthening those systems and putting together things in place. So we were in discussions, and then we had the announcement, which was really, really inspiring. I tend not to sort of put my emotions in patriotism, but at that point, when we officially announced that the World Toilet Summit was happening in Nigeria, it was a really great feeling. You know, we all felt inspired and ready to tackle this challenge. So, yeah.
And what makes it such a high priority with the current administration? The president obviously is behind it, signing executive orders and making it a high priority. What motivates him, do you think? Or maybe are you part of those conversations? Or obviously he makes it a big priority, right?
I mean, I wouldn't know behind closed doors, but I think that from just my opinion of it, it's really about the scale and the fact that Nigeria does have a booming economy. We do have a lot of great things happening, especially in Lagos. There are a lot of different committees and things like that are focused on building smart cities and all of this. So I think they realize that, like, hang on, we need to really resolve this crisis. I think that my entrance into the WASH sector is probably a bit late for me to have been in those initial conversations. But I'm also sure that as a partner of Sanitation and Water for All and attending those sectors, ministers' meetings and other high-level discussions, I'm very sure that contributed as well. Of course, we are a signatory to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. I'm not really sure what it is, but I'm glad that it's happening, and it's very, very inspiring to see.
Yeah, and I noticed in your you had been appointed as was it an ambassador of some kind with the Sanitation for All organization? Is that correct?
So Zenith Water Project, which is sort of the, let's say, parent of OpsWASH, the organized private sector, we are the private sector representative of Sanitation and Water for All, and we represent the global private sector in that. So it's really the company as opposed to me. I was just a new member in that sense. Last year it was another personnel of ours.
Okay, congratulations! That's awesome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been really great. Yes, 2 days ago they hosted a workshop which was all about ensuring that data collection technologies are well used when we're implementing these systems to make sure that the correct monitoring and evaluation procedures are in place. So yeah.
That's great. Yeah, ZuLoo was super excited when we were offered the opportunity to be a sponsor for the World Toilet Summit. We're really excited to attend and play a role there. I was thinking about when we're doing this podcast and when we're talking to people, we're encouraging them to attend. And what maybe you could break down how it's a two-day event, right? And if you wouldn't mind maybe breaking down what people might expect when they come to the summit.
Sure, absolutely. So as I said, the main theme is sanitation and innovations for economic development. And it is a 2-day event. And over the 2 days, we'll be sharing and discussing on, I actually have the revised draft agenda in front of me. So this is real. Scaling up the sanitation economy for national development, innovations for universal sanitation coverage, talking about the nexus between climate change and sanitation, which is very important for me personally, addressing gaps in WASH in institutions and public places as well. And of course, we're expecting a lot of high-level speakers, including the UN Deputy Secretary General, Mrs. Amina Mohammed, of course, the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu, the Minister of Environment, the President as well, various directors and leaders from organizations, because we need that multi-stakeholder collaboration. So I think we're going to have very, very interesting and sort of challenging discussions. There's not going to be the usual things that we discuss. We already know that we have a crisis. We already know that it needs to be resolved. Let's have the more difficult conversation about what works, what doesn't work, where can we scale up, where can we improve, which areas need more attention or need priority attention, and things such as this.
That's great. So, or do you expect to be mainly meetings and then breakout sessions, or is it just like in a conference format, right? Yeah.
So it will be obviously the panel discussions, which is more a viewing session, and then we will have a workshop. Some of our partners are putting together a workshop, so I guess that counts as a breakout session, which you can go. All attendees can go and interact and also share on a one-to-one level and network and come up with different ideas. So yeah, there definitely will be breakout sessions. There might be an excursion during this, but I'm not too sure, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Don't want to get our hopes up.
Yeah, there might be. We're still working out the full agenda, but I can say that those topics will definitely be covered, and there definitely will be breakout sessions to also allow for more interaction, because that's important to us as well.
That's great. Well, we're glad it coincides with the World Toilet Day. What a great, isn't a better place to be on World Toilet Day than at the World Toilet Summit.
Yeah, we're really excited to welcome you. It's always a pleasure to have international guests, and you guys have done a lot of work in all parts of the world. So we could definitely use your insights and perspectives as well, and see where you've succeeded, where you've sort of come across roadblocks. It's really exciting.
That was super great. Yeah, we're excited to attend. Thank you.
I think one thing in particular that we're excited for, Shael, we were talking about this a little bit before our interview started, and that's just that there's room for everybody, right, at the summit to attend, but also room for all levels of organization, no matter how big or how small. Like, all contributions matter and are important. And so we're thankful for the government of Nigeria. We're thankful for Jackson, certainly, for creating the World Toilet Summit and those opportunities to allow all of those contributions to come together and provide better futures for individuals, families, communities, both local, regional, but also global, right? This is a global problem because we are all connected in so many different ways. So,
yeah. I mean, I would actually say that is sort of one of my goals. I would like to see us, especially under the fact that we have now a dedicated private sector body, that being OpsWASH, which I don't want to say it's not been done anywhere before, but it's the first that I know of. So what I really like to see is that I'd like to see us achieve the end to open defecation, and also have, I mean, it's hard to have a blueprint, but some sort of guide that can be used in the next country so that they can accelerate their progress, and then so on and so forth. You know, it really would take country by country experience to get to that global scale. So I would say that's one of my main goals, or something that I'm looking forward to following our 2025. So I know that the SDG target is 2030, but in Nigeria, our target to end open defecation is 2025. So it's coming up very soon, and I hope that we will have given a good contribution to the global sanitation crisis.
That's great. That's a super ambitious goal, I must say. You say 40 million currently lack access, and that's about 2 years away, right? So we've got our work cut out for us.
Definitely. But we don't think about it like that. Otherwise, that's just daunting. 48 million, 2 years. Yeah, no.
Yeah, we just break it down. How many per day? How many toilets do we have to build per day to get there? That's it's all math. It's no problem.
Simple math,
right?
simple, easy.
That's right.
No, we're super thankful because that progress is already taken off, I'm sure, especially with the attention and the collaborations happening through OpsWASH, through government pulls and ties. And that networking, we're really excited to meet new people and continue the conversation about.
Absolutely. No, we have started like scale building toilets, as we said before. Coca-Cola has given their contribution. David Alaba, I'm not sure if you guys are football fans, but the Real Madrid footballer, who's actually half Nigerian, David Alaba, has contributed, and his toilets are being finished soon. So that also being able to leverage on, a huge star like that is also does wonders for the sector and starts the conversation. And we hope that more and more people will become interested and aware of the problem.
Absolutely. Well, sorry, Darren, go on.
I was going to say that's the whole point of the ZuLoo Poodcast, is to hopefully get people's attention. And obviously, World Toilet Summit is something we're trying to push and get people aware of.
I really do appreciate this podcast as well, because I was talking with a friend the other day, and I was thinking the fact that there is such a term as greenwashing and that it actually exists means that people really care about it. People are invested in it. And I would like to see the same level of enthusiasm within sanitation. I guess it starts with nails. But I would like to see, through podcasts and stuff, more people, even TikTok, more people talking about sanitation and all of this, so that it becomes part of our pop culture in a sense.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, well, we'll do our part too. So absolutely.
You're absolutely doing your part. I don't think that there's a more interesting and quirky. You guys are very quirky at ZuLoo, I must say. It's very, very entertaining to watch. So I definitely think that the desired intention has been achieved.
Thank you. Yes,
great.
We are thankful for the opportunity to host the ZuLoo Poodcast, to have it as a platform to make talking about sanitation and WASH a little bit more palatable. It can be a funny thing, and it's also a really serious thing. So we're grateful for the opportunity to hit both sides of that and be able to, talk about it in a way that is approachable for people really all over the world. So,
I mean, Mr. Jack Sim is sort of the person for this. We've seen through his efforts on using comedy, humor, and more entertaining sort of mechanisms to talk about sanitation. So it really does work, and we all do our part, I guess.
Absolutely. Well,
we were excited to have Jack on the show. When we first launched the Poodcast, he was, I think, on episode number 2, which was appropriate, but we've had him on since then, and he's such a fantastic representative, and so we're super excited to be associated with him. So,
absolutely.
Well, I love it, Shael. We are out of time, so I'm so thankful for your time and joining us on the ZuLoo Poodcast. Thank you for all of the amazing hard work that you're doing to make World Toilet Summit happen in Nigeria. Coordinating all of that is no small feat. Working with the subcommittees, I mean, we know how busy you are, so thank you for taking the time out of your day, your Friday afternoon, to come and be with us. And we'll see you in a couple short weeks at the World Toilet Summit.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really, really fun talking to you guys. I would love to speak more offline, because I'm even curious about how you came up with ZuLoo as well. And I look forward to meeting you in Nigeria. And I hope that you enjoy the summit and also enjoy our country.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shael. We'll be in touch.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, Shael, let's talk about her nails. Shael.
Oh yeah, the beautiful nails.
Beautiful nails.
I totally
little
you should
poop designs.
You
on
should
them.
totally get.
Yeah.
You should totally get a poop nails.
Yeah, Kelsey.
I don't know if I'm classy enough to pull it off. Shael,
Step your game up.
Classy.
Those weren't just poop emojis. They were red poop emojis. I've never seen those.
Yeah. Anyway, Shael.
Yeah, beautiful nails and
beautiful brain. Shael, super smart, super intelligent. Glad to have her, in part behind the wheel of OpsWASH and all the activities.
Yeah, it takes people like that that are passionate. You talked about it even before the interview at the very beginning of the episode. You need people like that are invested, that care.
Yep.
Otherwise,
she cares.
They're not really driving with a purpose.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they've done just so much to make it such a great event. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Join us. Register. We've got the links in the show notes. Go register. Join us at the World Toilet Summit.
Like cool
if you
event.
need an excuse to go to Nigeria, this is it.
This is it.
This
is
you
the
ever
place
thought
you're going
about
to want to be.
Nigeria?
You'll know for sure there's a toilet there for you.
Now you need to go.
Yeah.
That is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And Nigeria was never on my sort of radar or list. I'm like, there's so many other places to go, and I'm like, I guess I'm
and
going.
now you're going.
And now I'm going to Nigeria, thanks to Jack Sim and OpsWASH and the World Toilet Organization, all our friends there, and we're excited about it.
It's awesome.
Cool. Thanks everybody for joining us. We were delighted to have you on this episode. Remember to subscribe and share with your friends, your family, your poop latrine buddy, whoever that might be.
Take a buddy. Buddy system.
Take a buddy. Remember the buddy system. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the ZuLoo Poodcast. Follow us on social media at our links in the show notes below. To learn more, visit our website, ZuLoo.org. If you liked the podcast, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. For even more ZuLoo fun, send us an email with your toilet stories to podcast@zuloo.com for a chance to be featured on the podcast. This episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.